So, we have learned about how to run Java programs and then the different resources which are required to support your Java programming. So, today we have a quick demo about setting our environment suitable for Java programming, and we in addition to this we shall discuss few more things also. So, you should configure your machine, right, if you use laptop or any PC, so that you can run your programs from your project directory. So, we should advise you to build a directory, so that you can store all the programs that you will develop, and then we will also learn about how a program can be edited and the different steps towards the execution of your program. Finally, we shall have some simple demonstration of simple small programs, so that you can understand how to deal with basic Java programming features. Okay, let us have some demo. I understand that okay, so yeah, yes, yeah. So, in theoretical discussion, I have mentioned that you should install JDK version 8. I hope you have already downloaded the JDK 8 and installed in your system. Now, suppose you have installed your JDK software in program files. So, we will see exactly we have installed in our own machine in program files directory the JDK system. You can see we have installed our programs, I mean JDK in program files directory. The name of the directory here is JDK, and this is the version where we have installed the JDK version 8. Okay, once the installation is successful, you have to set the path of your program directory, that means the bin directory where all the Java tools, Java codes, Java commands are installed. So, we have to do it. I am giving you the step by step. First you have to go to properties, and then you go to advanced settings, and then environment variables, and then you have to set the Java home, the variable name Java home, and then the value for this Java home should be set at the C, then colon program files Java JDK 8.0171. This is basically the program which you have installed. So, you have to set this variable name Java home with this value, and then you have to set the path. So, the path that you should set using this name, that Java home, then under the Java home the bin, because bin is basically the executable of all the Java codes, Java systems is there. So, this is the setting of the paths, and then finally, you have to set the class path. So, you can set the class path variable by C program files Java JDK 8.0171/bin. So, this is basically your executable or the command files where it is stored. So, you have to set the paths. One, the paths and then system variables are configured this way, it will help you to run your program from any directory. So, for example, in this case we have created one directory. The name of the directory is nptel Java all final week 1 code demonstration 1. So, today we have created a directory, we can call it as a project directory. The name of the directory is demonstration 1. You can, according to your own understanding, you can create your project directory anywhere in your machine, in your system, any drive, and then once you do it, you will be able to now create your program, compile your program and execute your program. Now, I told you the Notepad ++ is a very good editor which you can consider to write your program. Now, I am just opening this Notepad ++ software so that you can see. So, here is basically opening the software Notepad ++. Yeah, so this is the window of the Notepad ++. So, it is basically a text editor. You can type anything, whatever the things you can type from the keyboard. So, this is the simple editor, anybody can use it. Okay. Our objective is to write a Java program. I am writing a Java program. So, let us the Java program is like this, you just see the Java program that I am going to write it. I will not write it here through keyboard, I have already written for you. I am just opening this file. So, I am opening the programs, the first Java program. Yeah. So, this is the first program that we are going to have a demo. So, this is the program whose name is its class name is rather first Java program. So, this program is now suppose you have typed it from your keyboard, then our next task is to save this program. So, there is a save menu and you can go save menu, save as. So, let the first Java program save. Yes. So, so the program is saved, and after saving you can go to your directory where you can see the program is already saved there. For example, here first program.java is saved here. Okay, once the program is written and saved successfully, our next task is to compile it. For this compiler, we have to go to the command prompt. So, you have to go to the command prompt from your Windows system if it is there, and if you use the Unix system, then you have to open a terminal, and then terminal you can use as to type the command. Now, in order to compile your program, the command that is required is javac, and then you have to give the full name of the file. The file that we have used to save our first program is first Java program.java. So, you have to give the name of the file in the same way as the name of the class you have given, and it is a case sensitive. So, be careful about that. So, this is the example here javac, we have invoked the compiler to compile the program first Java program.java. Now, let us compile it. Okay. So, as there is no error, no message in the command prompt, this means that this program has successfully compiled. And once on the successful compilation, you can see in the same directory one file is created. The name of the file is same as the name of the Java file, except the extension is .class. So, here you can see the bytecode file which has been created is first Java program.class. So, once this program is successful on compilation, now we are ready to run it. To run this program, the command that we should use it Java. So, Java first Java program and then .class. You can use the .class, or even if you do not use the class also no issue. So, it will run. So, here for example, the class file name is first Java program. So, just simply type Java and the name of the class file, namely first Java program here. So, this is the program that has been executed, and as you see, this program is basically use only one statement, namely system.out.println, and within this println is basically type the congratulations your first, just open browse yeah. So, this is the message that it will display, congratulations your first Java program run successfully. Now, we can see that output, it also gives the same thing. This is basically the steps that you have to edit your program, compile your program using Java C, and then run your program using Java command. So, these are the few steps that you should consider, and now say suppose there is a mistake in this program. For example, you have given the name of the class file first Java program 1, but you save this program as a first Java program.java. Save this program as a first Java program.java. Okay. Right. So, Yes, this is the program that we have created, but the name of the class file that we have created is fast Java program 1, but the name of the file that we have saved it fast Java program.java, the two things are not same. This means that in this case compilation should not be successful. Now, let us run the program, the same javac fast Java program.java and then run it. No, you have to, no, your program, no, class file is what?
Different class file.
So, how it is compiled successfully?
Compilation will be done.
Achha, okay, compilation will be successful. Okay, now let us see run the program. So, to run the program Java fast Java program, right. Now, what is going on here? How the compilation will be successful? Why you have saved the program as Java program 1 dot class? Yes. Now, here we can see we have saved the program file as the name fast Java program, but name of the class that is there in the program is fast Java program 1. So, there is no match. If there is no match, that means mismatch, then the compilation will not be successful. So, for example, in this case we could not compile the program successfully. So, here you should note that the name of the class file should be same as the name of the Java file. Then in that case the program will be compiled successfully, and if it successfully compiled, then you will get some the execution will be possible. Okay. Now, let us see have another simple demonstration, another program. So, hello world, yes. So, this program, and I am writing. So, I am writing another program. Let us give the name of the program is hello world dot Java program. Yes. Yeah. So, hello world, this is the program, and it has only one statement. It is very similar to the fast Java program. I will compile it. So, javac, this program has been saved as hello world dot Java. So, here the name of the file Java file is hello world, all in small letters, hello world dot Java. Okay. So, yeah. So, program compilation is successful, then we will be able to run it. So, running the program using Java, right. So, Java hello world dot right. Yeah. So, it gives hello world. Now, in the same program I am adding one more statement, system out dot println, system dot out dot println. So, here instead of hello world I am typing hi. So, here the two messages, the first message hello world and the second message hi will be printed. I am again compiling and then again execution. Yeah. So, you see hello world and then hi. So, you can understand about if you want to print some message on the screen, the statement that is required in Java program is system dot out dot println, and whatever you write within double quote is basically print will display on the screen verbatim. That means, as if whatever it is written there. So, hi, for example, again hi dot 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 within double quote, and the same thing hi dot dot dot, right, hi dot dot dot. Okay. Now, if you save it again, run it, yeah. So, it is like this. Now, if you want to print two messages in one printl statement, so we usually use plus symbol. So, hi plus hi plus Devashish. Okay. So, now here basically in one line it will print hello world, then in the next line hi, and then Devashish will be printed, you can see. Okay. So, now you have hope you have understood that it is very simple statement and the simple program indeed. So, how you can run the simple program, this is a good starting point for you actually. Okay, now, let us consider another program. This program is basically we have discussed about how to define an array and then how to initialize an array and how to use the element which are stored in an array. So, this is the one program that we have written here. The name of the program is test array, where capital T and then capital array, you should note it. So, this is the name of the program, your Java program, and this program should be saved as test array dot java. So, this program has been saved as a test array dot java in the directory, the current project directory, right, test, right. So, this is the program test array dot java, we have stored it. Now, let us look at the program statement by statement. We have to understand this program, what we have done it. Now, okay, so this is the name of the class, the test array, this is the name of the program, and then public static void main string args, it is as usual there, the standard syntax that you have to follow. You will understand the meaning of this statement later on. Now, next is basically we have declared an array, a type of integer. So, int a within square bracket, and then it is basically initialization, memory allocation, and then declaration, all the three things have been done together. So, this is the statement int a array symbol equals, then within second brackets 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So, that means the array A is of now size 5 and this array contains 5 elements which are stored in A0 location 10, A1 location 20, A2 location 30, A3 location 40 and A4 location 50. So, this array is stored, and then the next one for loop. This for loop basically will print the elements which are stored in the array. So, this loop will roll starting from I equals to 0, because array index is from 0, and then it will loop till I less than a dot length. So, a dot length is basically what is the size of the array A. So, a dot length is the specific one function that you can use, and that will return the size of the array. So, in that case a dot length is 5, and then the next is basically incrementation of the loop variable I plus plus, and within this loop system dot out dot print ln. So, it will print one elements in the array at a time, and then go to the next loop and so on so on. So, this will print the array. So, instead of print ln, if we type print, it basically will print all the elements in one line. So, ln and print, the difference is that is basically in one line or in different line. Now, let us have the ln. I will discuss about simple print as an alternative to print ln later on. Now, okay, once the array elements are printed, our next step is to calculate the average value of all the elements which are stored there in the array. So, we have declared one variable called the sum, and it is declared as a float, and then average as also a float variable. So, we declare two variables, one is sum and another is average, and sum is initialized as 0 at the time of declaration. Now, so the next loop is to find the sum of all the elements, and finally, it will basically calculate the average is basically sum divided by the total number of elements stored in the array, that is the size of the array. And finally, there is a system dot out dot println, it will print the average value, which is statement that average equals to the average value. Now, let us run this program using Java C. Test array dot java is the program file name. Okay, run it. Run. Okay. So, this program is successfully compiled. Now, we are going to run this program. Right. So, here you see the first few lines 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 is an outcome of the first for loop. It basically display all the elements which are stored there, and the next for loop calculate the sum of all the elements stored in the array, and finally calculate the average which is printed using the system.out.println average equals to 30.0 in this case. Now, I just want to do some changes here. In the first for loop, I am writing system out println instead of println simple print and okay, and then let us see what will happen, right, run. Yeah. So, it is little bit not easy to difficult. I can put some single space. So, I can go to the print again, print a I plus and then within double quote plus double quote blank space. Yeah. So, if we give a space, so the display will be quite comfortably visible. So, we make the print statement like this. Yes. So, now here we can see how the output is displayable on the screen. I can make little bit different output at the end of the right system.out println at the first for loop, at the end of the first for loop brackets, no, here, right, here you can type, right, one system out dot println, system out dot out dot println just only packets double quote, right, nothing, yeah, okay, I have so semicolon, yeah. So, I just see, so in the first for loop it will print all the numbers in one row, then at the end of the for loop it will go to the next line and then in the next for loop it will calculate sum and then print at the next line. So, now you see the display is more comfortably presentable, so that you can see about it. Yes, now you can understand. So, this is the matter of simple how you can configure your printing on the display using system out dot println. Regarding this system dot out, we will learn a lot when we will discuss about these methods in details. So, let us come to the another one example. These examples we will consider here the 3D array. Now, let us give the name of this program as A3D array as the file, and you should save this program as A3D array dot java. So, this program, if you see the name of the program file is 3D array here, public static void main string args, it is as usual. Okay. And now, we have declared here yeah. So, here we declare an array of type integer and we gave the name of the array as my 3D array. As it is a 3D array, so it should have 3 square brackets as it is shown here, and then this array will be declared and then memory allocation. For this memory allocation we use the keyword new. New is basically is a memory allocator. So, it will allocate the memory for the array, and here you see 3, 4, 5 are the 3 dimensions. So, the first dimension is for number of pages, the second is for the number of rows, and the next last dimension 5 is the number of columns. So, if it is a 2D array, then it is a 4, 5, if it is a 3D array, then 3, 4, 5 like, so 3 dimensions. So, it is basically is a collection of 3 2-dimensional array, 3 2-dimensional array, where each 2-dimensional array of size 4 rows and 5 column. So, here basically if we print it, then it will print as a 3 2-dimensional arrays actually. Anyway, now just let us see how we can initialize. There are you can read, there are total number of elements which can be stored in this array is 60. So, 60 array typing from the keyboard sometimes is very difficult. Anyway, so we are just using 3 for loops to initialize this array. Now, to initialize this array, I use one, is a nested for loop, I should say. Here see the nested for loop. This loop will roll for 3 loops actually. The innermost loop with k equals to 0, k less than 5, k plus plus. The innermost loop is basically to read the elements in a row for each column in that row. Then the next, the outermost loop, the for I j equals to 0, j less than 4, it basically will try to read for all the rows in one 2 dimensional array, and then finally, the most outermost loop is basically read each 3 dimensional array, each 2 dimensional array in 3D arrays. And here the statement my 3 array I j k for any values of I j k will be stored as is a product of I star, j star, k star. So, this way we initialize the array, and then finally, the next 3 loops again to print the array. Now, so the statement that we have considered to print the array is basically again 3 loop, same as the loading the array, initialization of the array in the same way, only we have used that system dot out dot print my 3 array, the value it will print, and then finally, the last treatment to give to the cursor into the next line. So, this is the program which basically declared a 3D array, initialize the elements into that array, and finally, print the elements in that array. So, now let us run this program, but before going to run we should compile it. So, Java C, right, yes. So, the program compilation is successful. Now, run the program using Java. Okay. Now, here you see the output. So, I told you that 3D array can be displayed. 3D array is basically I have to display the 3D array in the 2D plot. So, that is why we did it by 3 2 dimensional array. So, the first 2 dimensional array is for the first, we can call it as a page. So, first page, and then the second 2 dimensional array for the second page, and then the third 2 dimensional array for the third page. And you can see in each page there are how many rows?
4 cross 5.
What is the 4 cross 5? 4 rows and 5 columns. So, 4 rows and 5 columns. In each 2 dimensional array there are 4 rows and 5 columns. So, this is the way we can handle the 3D array. Now, as you have already learned 3D array, simply learning the 2D array also similar. So, in that case you just same program, only you have to use 2 for loops for initialization and 2 for loop for printing all the elements. So, it is given as an exercise for you. You can try, just repeat the same thing, declare a 2D array, initialize it using some I star j like, and then display the elements. Okay. You can practice it so that you can learn it. So, today is our demonstration is up to this, and next we will discuss about the applet programming, and followed by this discussion shall have a demonstration on applet programming. So, thank you.